and good Wednesday morning, and welcome to another edition, another Hump Day edition of Analyze This here on your NPR station in the U.S. Virgin Islands, WTJX FM, 83.1. We're yours truly, Neville James. Another hazy morning in paradise, but still paradise. Nonetheless, we should be talking with the Department of Tourism in a little bit. Ms. Rosie Farrington should be joining us. A lot of things going on in the territories. My understanding that Southwest is supposed to be a part of the airline fleet that's going to be working its way into the territory. I think I was just in Thomas, I believe. So it's good. Also, I was talking to Willa John. And he told me that we're supposed to see increased cruise ship activity on Saint Croix. The governor was here a couple of weeks ago, and it was painful to hear that the Gallows Bay port, where we've been begging for maintenance dredging for over 10 years now, it looks like that's not going to happen. The Army Corps engineer over the years have not approved that, and the governor said the cost is at like 20 mil, something like that. Of course, that's what happened. That's what happens when you don't maintain a particular area. So one could only imagine what the sea floor looks like up in the Gallows Bay area there surrounding Hotel on the Key, Protestant Key, and that whole surrounding area. That's a shame, But we still got the Frederickstead Pier, which is beautiful. I believe the draft down there is the deepest in the territory. I believe, at least it was once upon a time. I think it was at 40 feet, and the Waiko was at 34 one time. So, yeah, but we'll see what we could do. And then, of course, we also got the container port. That if we really wanted to make some infrastructure investments and be creative, that particular facility could be retrofitted, or whatever terminology is applicable, to allow for some cruise ship activity down in the middle, the south central part of the Big Island. So, got things to do. We're gonna get them smaller cruise ships here into the territory. And I've been studying this for years, and that seaborne cruise, that 21-day cruise, that starts in, I believe it starts in San Juan and ends in Bridgetown, right? I think it makes a couple of stops in Tortola. Give a shout out to my listener over there in Puerto Rico, Edwin Melendez. What's up, Edwin? Todo bien? Right? So, one of these days I go get Edwin Melendez to call in. I'm gonna let him know when to call in so he can let us know what's going on the southeastern side of Puerto Rico, right? And how clear are we sounding over the way? Yesterday, he said, "Sí, todo bien." Yeah, yesterday we had a gremlin that was acting up in hour number 2, but we got the podcast. So if you didn't get to hear the second part of that educational discussion that I had with Lola Willis about government and how we generate funds over the years and all that stuff, you can catch it on the podcast, okay? I know the first hour was clean. Second hour was rough, right? Poor Liberty. Bit off more than we could chew. Or they bit off more than they could chew. Yeah, Edwin said, he said we got to talk. Yeah, we're going to talk, man. I'm going to let you know when to call in one of these mornings when we got some free time and we could rap we could talk about. La Boricua, right? Yeah, so let me look at this 21-day cruise from Seabourn. Hold on there. Seabourn. Okay, is a Seabourn Ovation schedule, right? Hold on there. Let's see if it starts in San Juan or it starts in Phillipsburg. 21-day cruise. Bam, bam, bam. Let's see, is it December or... Yeah, San Juan to Bridgetown. Okay? It starts on December 14th until January the 3rd. Yep. 21 days, including the 14th. Right? So the 14th, 1. 17 more days in December. That's 18. And then January 3rd, 3, 21. Check. San Juan to Bridgetown. All right? So check this out. Leave San Juan on the 14th. The first stop is, maybe Clifford Graham could help me with this one. Soper's Hole or Soper's Hole. Sopers. Let me see if Doc School, Terry T, or Clifford Graham could help me out in pronouncing that one. Sopers. Soper's or Soper's Hole. Right? That's in Frenchman's Key, BVI. That's the first stop. Then the next stop is Carambola Beach, St. Kitts Nevis. Right? Then the at sea. Right? A whole day at sea. Right? And then the next day, the 18th, they're in Guadeloupe. So you see that first day at sea? Right? If we could, talk to them and make the first day, since they're leaving San Juan and you'll pass Saint Croix to get to the BVI, if you're coming through the Anagara Passage, right? Right? Let them come to the U.S. Virgin Islands, then the British Virgin Islands, then St. Kitts, right? Then they could walk the way down to Guadeloupe, right? Then Martinique, then Bequia, then Grenada, then Bridgetown, then St. Lucia. Then they're coming back to the same Guadeloupe again, and they come back to the same Carambola Beach in St. Kitts Nevis, right? Then they go to Montserrat, right? Montserrat, right? We don't say Montserrat, right? And this is by day 12, right? Then December 27th, they're at sea. And the next 3 days, 28th, 29th, and the 30th, Curacao, Arriba, Bonaire. Then they got another day at sea. Then they hit St. George's, Grenada again, right? For the second time. Port Elizabeth and Bequia for the second time. And then they wrap it up on January 3rd in Bridgetown, Barbados. So they got 3 days at sea. So if we could get one of them days, right? They got, them is the people who's spending that money, man. They've told us, those smaller cruise ships, they spend more per passenger than the big cruise ships. So we want a piece of the action there. Go check. So I've been watching this one, yeah. Or like we just said, right? I've been cooping this one for the longest. I remember the Sea Goddess, right? Back in the day. Gallows Bay was where they used to come in. We'd walk downtown, go down there by Dover, by the Pate Van. And a lot of those passengers used to hang out right down there on the waterfront in Christiansted. You know what I'm saying? So You could do a thing like that. Okay. One thing about my listeners, the ones who were frustrated yesterday, and both of these names, right? Just reading the text, both of them, both of them, uh, you know, chimed in yesterday, wanted to know what happened, right? That's Lisa and Rufus Turnbull, right? So Rufus Turnbull educated me again. He said, "Do you know that part of the Wyco sales agreement with Banco Popular, the VI had to dredge annually to maintain the facility?" This is what I'm talking about. That was what we call brilliant clauses in an agreement. You know what I'm saying? If you're coming to Banco Popular as Wyco, the West Indian Company, which at one point was the #1 cruise ship port in the Caribbean, and you're looking for some financing, some dollars, like Rufus them to say, right? You got to dredge annually, man. Because we want to make sure that you generating that revenue, you're doing things that allow for that revenue to come in. He also said, if you didn't have that podcast, you would have owed Lolo a do-over. Correct. I agree. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but I like that clause. You know what I'm saying? I like that clause and I'm willing to bet tis Valentino McBean mandate that clause when Wyco come down for that money, come down for that loan money from Banco Popular back in the day, right? Okay, me gonna probably lend that money because Ayo got ranking, Ayo #1, right? But if you don't get that money, make sure that every year Ayo doing. Or of course, well, no, he from Saint Croix. Valentino was from Saint Croix, so he used to say every year, right? But if you were from Saint Thomas, you say every year, right? You make sure that you do that dredging over day, right? So, yeah, man, I like that. I like that kind of class. That is what called sports class, right? And then Lisa said years ago there was a video with a proposed plan for a cruise ship town in the dredged basin west of the Molasses Pier. Yeah, down there. Multiple berthings, walkable wharfside venues, hotels, even a movie theater. This was before the internet, so this is before 1994 when Al Gore created the internet. The great Al Gore, by the way, right? You know something? I remember that vaguely. But you're right. I think David Jones and them were talking about this as well. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. We had a lot of, brilliant ideas back in the day that never materialized. All right? For whatever reasons. I'm not with the finger pointing like that. Right? But it's not for lack of vision and ideas and all that stuff. Now, the delivering part, right? And we we just the follow through part ain't happening. So getting back, Rufus Turnbull made a good point. He educate me again, right? He said it was the Puerto Rican Facilities Maintenance Division in Banco Popular that came up with the clause. They were very familiar with port development, of course. That's the same thing me and Lolo were talking about yesterday. If you listen to the podcast, and the adversarial nature of our relationship for the most part, because in the Virgin Islands we have believed that Puerto Rico took advantage of us, given their size. 4 million people at the time when we were like 100,000. Their political clout, because they had the ability in certain parts of the country to elect House of Representative members, that were representing primarily or largely Puerto Rican districts, right? Like the Bronx, right? Certain parts of D.C., certain parts of Baltimore, Philly, right? Puerto Rico big like that, or no? I'm sure y'all have heard me say over the years when Kenneth McClintock, who was a Secretary of State, also a good senator, worked a lot with Lewis Hill back in the day. You know, he was on at the CSG conference in 2006. He was the one who told us there were as many Puerto Ricans between Boston and D.C. as there were on Puerto Rico Island. 4 million. And I'm willing to bet that number is more tilted towards Boston to D.C. than today, because they had a population, not necessarily a drain, but reduction a couple of times, you know, over the last 15, 20 years. And that was in 2006. Okay? So, you know, that's why, you know, you need that data. You know, if you're making decisions like this, right, it can't just be gut feelings and hunches and all that stuff. You need that empirical data, you know, to justify, you know, why you need, what you're asking for, how you plan to make that back, you know, what kind of activity is going to go on and all that stuff, you know. So yeah, I like that clause, my son. Them kind of clause there. Yo, check. Annual dredging to maintain the facility if you want that loss. Yeah, man. I with that. Yeah, so getting back to this, you know, this 21-day itinerary where they got like 3 days at sea. If we could talk to them, I can do it or no. I want a piece of the action there. You know, the business side. I mean, by the way, I saw my good friend Guido Shang, my childhood friend Guido Shang, yesterday afternoon. I gave him a shout out. He was telling me about the show, the second hour yesterday. So, morning Guido, good looking out. Yeah, man, Seaborn Cruises. Well, that Sea Goddess, man. They used to generate some revenue for us here in the territory. Sea Goddess ship, Saint Croix. Sorry, you could Google. This Google app is a beautiful thing, man. So we're good with that. Check. In 1990, the Sea Goddess 1 and Sea Goddess 2 were operating under the Cunard Sea Goddess brand, having been acquired by Cunard after the Sea Goddess line encountered financial difficulties. These luxury yachts were known for their intimate size and upscale experience, appealing to a discerning clientele, according to Chris Frame's Cunard page. So we take a break, come back. We'll speak with Ms. Farrington because she texted me to say she's on her way, and we'll talk about tourism in the Virgin Islands. Be back right after this. we're back here on Analyze This, and I just pulled up a story here, a daily news story by Elizabeth Rezendi from 2016 about Saint Croix. Has a long tradition of harbor pilots and all that stuff, so I'll get into that sometime in the future. Real good stuff. Arnold Hayfield, Dr. Hayfield, Dad, actually wrote this story. But we're joined by Miss Rosie Farrington, Department of Tourism, Assistant Commissioner, Deputy Commissioner. Wait.
Deputy Commissioner.
Fix that microphone. Fix that microphone there. Deputy Commissioner. What's up, man?
Good morning. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, big hat on
Good to
this
see you.
man.
Good, yeah. I'm on a tour.
A tour, okay, yeah. My name is Barry. How are you?
Morning.
Everything good?
Yes.
Okay, good. So, Rosie, what's up?
I'm good.
How's the department?
Every time I come to see you, I get really happy because I know we're about to have some good Guyanese would say we gonna gaff.
Oh, gosh. I learned something this morning.
Yes.
Yeah. So, all is well?
All is well.
How's the agency?
Tourism is good. We're good. Past 3 days, we have some guests visiting, and I call it 3 islands, 3 days, 1 destination. So I did St. John on Monday and St. Thomas yesterday, and today is the Saint Croix tour. So
Look, no man, every time you come at my show, right, you keep pronouncing that one wrong, okay?
St. Thomas.
Take out that H. Take out that A. The H might be in it, okay? It's Thomas, okay?
I'm constantly corrected on that.
I know.
It's the little British in me. We got to put the tongue
between
between the
I
teeth.
understand that,
Yeah.
but kill it, okay?
Yeah. St. Thomas.
Okay.
All right,
There
okay.
we go.
Lord.
Okay. Tell me about St. John.
No, St. John was, an amazing experience. It's always good to go back because that's one of the little special pieces of paradise that sometimes we forget. But I guarantee you, the tourists certainly have not forgotten St. John. Home to Trunk Bay, world's best beach, and that's something that we're really, really, really proud of.
That designation came down last year. Did whomever that group was, or that article, that periodical in labeling Trunk Bay #1, they did the same thing again this year?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same thing this year. So we are once again home of the world's best beach. And what was really special about St. John, I did the ferry. I wanted to have the whole tourist immersion experience. So sat on the top for the scenic views, for the little tan. I look brown. Do I look brown? But it was good to see the cruise ship passengers that docked with it was one of the Royal Caribbean that they were actually doing a day tour and the beach experience over in St. John. So that's one of the things we forget too when we really, think of St. John and we market St. John. It's also a hop and a skip for a day traveler who's doing the cruise ship experience. So it was really good, a lot of good things happening on St. John. We see that we have the Saint, which is a beach club, day pass kind of experience that's open in Cruise Bay. Got a lot of the new restaurants and the boutique hotel right there in the harbor when you come in. So,
That's the Wharfside,
correct,
Wharfside Village experience?
Correct, the Wharfside Village. So it's good to see St. John is one of those places. It's always on the move, but it's a quiet, still, tranquil kind of move. So it's something that I've grown to really, truly love and appreciate.
Then you did the St. Thomas thing?
Did the St. Thomas thing. St. Thomas. Yeah, I did the St. Thomas thing.
St. Thomas gonna always be a leader in the region, you got that long-standing mercantile mentality over there, and they just got so many locations, that they invested in over the years.
Correct.
Those lookout, when you go by Mafley and all that stuff.
Correct.
Skyline.
Skyline.
Yeah. You can't beat that at all, man.
Can't.
And then on both sides, when you're heading out east and you look over on the northern side and you're seeing all the different keys, you're seeing St. John.
You see BVI.
You can't beat that with a bat. You know what I'm saying?
I was saying yesterday too, I know and I believe and I sell it as one of the most picturesque islands in the whole Caribbean.
Yeah, man, St. John.
No matter where you turn, is a view.
And a long way too.
Yeah.
That whole, when you get on top there, on top of Smith Bay.
Right.
And you could
right,
drive.
right.
You could drive on the top side of the island.
Correct.
All the way west.
Correct.
You
And
know.
there's a view.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
One of the what
I got to give them credit for that one.
one of the, or I would say the prettiest harbor when you sail into that harbor.
Oh yeah, man.
And
yeah,
then you
man.
know now we've been talking about one of the prettiest attractions in the Waiko Dock there, the harbor, the brand new Hampton by Hilton.
Okay.
Something we're really, really proud of. First brand new hotel development ground up in over 35 years.
That's on the Pearson Garden side.
That's on the right on the Waiko Dock, right where the cruise ships come in
Yeah.
the dock.
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
that's over there on the Alcoa side then.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah?
Right
Okay.
there.
I ain't been over there in a while now, so I got to come check it out.
You're gonna experience it.
Okay, good thing.
Special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go
Yes.
check that one out. I go
Yes,
flex.
yes,
I go
yes.
flex my wings.
There you go.
So
There you
so
go.
that's nice. Yeah, I've always been just the term we use is freaked out over how
Careful how you use freak
Yeah,
out.
I know, but no, that's off. That's off. This is out. You know what I'm saying? At how Saint Croix and Saint Thomas had the same population, right? Even though Saint Croix is 2.5 times bigger, which
Yes.
requires more to be done within a smaller
Footprint.
footprint.
Correct.
That's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? I like that, right?
Yeah.
And it's because of that, right? That commitment to, wherever there's area, wherever there's land,
Yes.
the land must walk,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
that's something that's a mentality that they embrace.
But you know
in
that,
St.
you see the difference. One of the things I really, really love about Saint Croix is when I come here. You know I'm a born and raised Vincy. So whenever I step foot on Saint Croix, it reminds me a lot of St. Vincent in terms of the land and you could be on 2 acres of land, your house in one corner, and you could plant up the rest of your land. So it's really beautiful. It's one of the last, well, it's really the only real residential communities that we have in the U.S. Virgin Islands, St. Croix. So on St. Thomas, we take a third of an acre and we build higher up.
Yeah.
Can't go too wide out.
Because the bottom, let me say, the bottom go pay for the top.
Exactly.
Yeah, that don't exist on St. Croix, you know. On St. Croix is the sides. You check what I'm saying?
Yes,
and St. Thomas is more vertical,
yes,
you know.
yes.
We're
So
horizontal.
different, we started this campaign, we kicked it off right around COVID, and we kind of put it on the back burner for a while because we wanted to make sure that we got the full bang for the buck, and that people saw St. Croix for what it truly is, a vibe like no other. And when we sell and we market St. Croix, it's a special slice of culture, some of the best food in the Caribbean and history. So when we market Saint Croix and we go out there, we see Saint Croix, we have special niche travelers who choose Saint Croix.
Well, I'm glad you went there because I was talking about that in the first segment. We used to, the smaller cruise ships used to live on St. Croix way back in the day. That's not the case anymore. Can that be revived?
Absolutely.
Because I was looking at the Seabourn itinerary, that 21-day deal that starts in San Juan and ends in Bridgetown, and I went through it with the audience. They got 3 days at sea. If we could find a way to
include St. Croix in the
because the first
itinerary.
stop out of San Juan is BVI, then St. Kitts. So that means they pass in
Correct.
here.
In the area.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, and then BVI, St. Kitts, then a day at sea. If we could find a way to get like a half a day of that day at sea or whatever, before they head down to Guadeloupe. And,
right around the Ag Fair time, right in February. I don't know if a lot of the community knew. It was a huge deal that we actually had the Ritz-Carlton cruise line here in St. Croix. Actually, it was an inaugural dock.
Oh, yeah?
Correct.
In
Right at the Frederickstead at the pier.
Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah.
So exactly. It's one of the things that the luxury lines, like we have Silver and other lines that are now coming, they usually go to like St. Bart's, Anguilla. We are now marketing to those to let them know that there are special things in these U.S. Virgin Islands, in particular St. Croix, that they could come to experience. We have Prosperity Farms that's right out there in Frederickstead too, that we're encouraging cruisers and persons who come off. It's one of those daytime activities that they could go and see. And it's not just a tour of a distillery. It's a rich history and the lessons that come with just being there. I mean, just being there in that space, Frederiksted is a special place in terms of the aura and the vibe, the authenticity that you feel when you step off of those cruise lines. So.
Good morning, Neville. Please give my regards to my sister and Deputy Commissioner Rosie and tell her she's doing a very good job promoting the culture. Her brother Jason. People them out at St. Thomas. Getting your propers here and the show this morning, so take a bow.
I take it. Thank you, Jason.
Yeah. No, but Frederiksted really, it's a historic town.
Yes.
And they got a cultural vibe down there that they're gonna hold on to. And then the forts, the forts are attractions. Correct. Both Christian Variants and Fort Frederick. Correct. And all that stuff. So correct. We got a lot.
So part of when the governor did the press conference and allocated some of the funding to the tongues and the nonprofits in both St. Thomas and Saint Croix, the sole purpose and intent is to really provide those grants so that those persons in Christiansted is the CRRA, and then Shamari is doing an exceptional job, Shamari Moorhead in Frederiksted.
Our tongue Frederiksted.
Our tongue Frederiksted, exactly. Is to really bring the vibe of that same authenticity that I refer to. Are you smiling in your phone, Stefan?
No, we can't. Rufus Turnbull out a rack telling me, text me a message, and to the end of it, he said, take that. So bring him more. Yeah. So it's really, in St. Thomas is the Chamber of Commerce for the downtown Charlotte Amali. So it's really for us to be able to curate special experiences. Tourism is no longer just about sun, sand, and sea. Everybody else sells that. We want to share basically the identity of who we are, the essence and vibe of the people. And that comes through a curated experience. Mother, Gloria Joseph, one of my happy belated birthday to her. But one of my favorite cooks and would always make sure she know my red pea soup is with no sugar. So, it's experiences like that people come and they want to fully immerse in. So we're finding ways and avenues for us to really bring those to our visitors, our tourists. What happened at Sea Trade this year? Anything special happened at Sea Trade this year?
We had some good meetings. We had some good fruitful meetings. Reaching back out to we're really doing well with cruises considered. St. Thomas again, St. Thomas. I got practice never.
They're gonna come. They're gonna come.
They're gonna come.
They're
gonna come.
Yeah. Who's number one in the region?
St. Thomas. Best sailing destination in the region.
That's
voted again by Porthole.
That's qualitative, right? Quantitatively, which island drawing the number one number now?
Right now, we still fighting for number one when we look at like St. Martin. Yeah. St. Martin and Dominican Republic.
St. Martin came to St. Thomas, looked at what we had in St. Thomas and went to St. Martin and put on the same infrastructure.
Infrastructure.
To the best of their ability and ran past us.
Yeah.
While we were sitting down and basking on our laurels.
Yeah, but at the same time...
I forget what the fella name. A clay skin dude. Sharp. He gonna come to me. I think, Docs, you know the dude. And they invested in their infrastructure down there. And
they got another gentleman there. He's pretty sharp too, pretty active. But one thing they have that works well, that we could benefit from. I know that we have a few people that are going down to look at it. Is the water taxi operation.
The water taxi, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Water taxi works well. One of the problems we have in St. Thomas still is the traffic congestion. Yeah. And that travelers sometimes have a little anxiety when they go down to Megan's, if they could brave through the traffic to get back to the ship. Because that ship leaves there. Whether you're on or off, it leaves.
The ship's going.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that we're doing some feasibility studies and looking at to see if that's something we could because we can call it copycatting, It's collaboration. U.S. Virgin Islands now again sits on the Caribbean Tourism Organization board, which means that I sit on the board of directors. Commissioner Joe Bashalti is on the Council of Ministers. And we sit at the table with leaders throughout the entire Caribbean who are members. And we talk about how we could collaborate on things like trade, regional transportation, and, just our marketing overall efforts. So it's no longer seen as, because the truth is, on the world stage, the Caribbean is a competition. We have some of the best beaches, we have some of the best people, and we have some of the best tourism products. So we continue to really work together collaboratively in a cohesive manner so that we could, leverage these resources we have in the Caribbean.
Crown Bay and Waco feeding off each other, or are they in competition?
No, well, we're one. We're one. They're governed by separate boards, and they have separate lines that come to each. But ultimately, at some point, we share some of the passengers. So, to an extent.
But both of them, when we were a clear number one, both of them functioned well.
Correct. Correct.
So this notion that we shouldn't be, we should all be one, that's not necessarily true. I mean, Waco is unique. Port Authority is unique. Port Authority got a footprint on Saint Croix and all that stuff.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I was never one who was into this. Everything needs to be consolidated. I don't buy into that.
Correct.
Some things are unique. You know what I'm saying?
And the truth is, each of those, like Waco, they have their own experience. They have their own product. They have their own cruisers. It's a whole different dynamic.
Not only that, suppose one got issues, then the other one could fill some gaps.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
If whenever you merge, right, that means, okay, you're consolidating, we're saving money. Yeah, but if you got a problem, that means the whole thing going under.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
we go with that. We're talking with Rosie Farrington, Deputy Commissioner for the Virgin Islands Department of Tourism. We're talking about the tourism product here in the territory. When we come back, we're going to talk about airlift, Southwest.
Absolutely.
Had an announcement and all that stuff recently, so we'll be back right after this. And we're back here on Anlayze. We're talking tourism in the Virgin Islands with Deputy Commissioner Rosie Farrington. Good morning to you. Glad to have you here in the studio.
Pleasure, as always, Neville. Morning to you.
Morning again, Joanne. Morning. Good to see you. All right. So, tell me about this announcement with Southwest and Shirley King Airport.
Big news. That was that's something we've been working on And this is proof, a lot of the conversations we have, people complain about airlift and access, to work on getting this flight or that flight or the other. And the truth is like dating, is like when you're courting. So we've been in conversations for a while, and one of the things that people neglect to acknowledge, or they probably just don't know, is that what goes hand in hand with airlift is hotel keys. So when we go and we meet with the airlines and we say, we want a new route from, let's say, the Northeast to Saint Croix, the first thing they ask is, do we have anything new to report where hotel rooms or an increase in that inventory is concerned? So Southwest is a discussion that, we've been having conversations for some time, and they have also immersed a lot more within the Caribbean region. They're doing Aruba and some other parts of the Caribbean. So we're proud to announce that in the beginning, January 2026, that we'll start service with Southwest Airlines to St. Thomas, and then, they're potentially looking at other areas.
No,
So
where the flight coming from?
for now, it's Orlando and another destination.
Okay.
Yes. So Orlando is one of the big hotspots too. We got Spirit doing nonstop, and then we have now Southwest that's gonna be rolling into St. Thomas. So that's something we're really, really excited. Persons are really excited with the advent of the new construction of that hotel. Is gonna come opportunities for to have discussions now, business, they're targeting business and corporate travel and even regional travel. One thing I love about that property is that they understand the assignment. It's local people who have invested in our community in St. Thomas who, took on the Herculean task of starting and building a new hotel. And it's going to be good for persons traveling from Saint Croix, St. Thomas to St. Thomas from BVI. And it's a great opportunity for us to really start marketing the staycation concept on both districts. Persons, families who don't want to deal with travel and leaving the territory could enjoy our tourism product, which is our hotels and the amenities therein.
With the unfortunate situation with Silver, JetBlue is a beneficiary of that.
In terms of increasing.
Puerto Rico.
Yes.
Rico.
But I mean, we have had some good increase in airlift too. I mean, Fly the Whale has now picked up some of that slack. We have Cape Air, we have JetBlue, Frontier on certain days.
Fly the Whale going to start to fly to San Juan?
They are already.
They already?
Yeah, they're already flying to San Juan from St. Croix.
So St. Croix?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Okay. So, I mean, it's unfortunate Silver and Seaborn.
But you could fly. You could have flown. I got to speak proper English because you there. You're telling me about St. Thomas. I go speak the proper English. You could have flown from Silver Airways from St. Croix to Puerto Rico for $55.
Yes.
One way, right?
Yes.
But you're going St. Croix to St. Thomas, downtown to downtown for $119, right?
You better have swimming sometimes.
Right. So there were times when I would head to the mainland, instead of going the Miami route, St. Croix, Miami to wherever, I could fly to San Juan and get a Delta nonstop to New York City.
Correct.
Right? If I don't go to St. Croix, St. Thomas, remember you got nonstop on American as well.
Correct.
Right? So it was actually cheaper to fly further. Well, of course, volume has something to do with that.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So
Correct. It is that is a legitimate concern, and it's something that we continue to struggle with. But like you say, volume.
How long you been living in the territory?
26 years. I'm a Virgin Islander now.
You want to win.
Exactly.
Right? So the reason why I ask is when I been in high school, which was way before that, right? We catching the goose, right? Used to call it the goose, right? For $25 and $30 a round trip.
Yes.
From downtown St. Croix to
yes.
St. Thomas, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So as someone who grew up, with that, that sentimental, that
I mean,
nostalgic travel.
it made access and inter-island travel a lot easier.
And it's still the best trip in the world.
Correct. Correct.
Downtown, Saint Croix to Saint Thomas to Saint Croix, on a clear day.
On a clear
Right,
day.
when you fly into St. Thomas and you seated on the right hand side of the plane and you look over and you can see St. John,
Yes.
you can reach like you want to go out and touch it.
Exactly.
I'm serious.
No.
But maybe I'm just a little,
That was before me, but I'm going to take your word.
I'm talking right now.
Right.
When you're on the seaplane, right, on a clear day, this is like October.
Picturesque.
Yeah, that's the word. October, November, December, when they ain't got no Sahara dust acting up. And like I was saying, St. Thomas and St. John, they clear, right? They clear, and you look over, and
Yes.
St. John is right there. It's a real beautiful thing flying
It
into.
is. It is.
And if you got no wind, right? The pilots can land however they want.
Correct.
And the best way to land would be in between
In
Hassel,
French
between
tongue
Hassel
and-
French
yes,
tongue,
yes,
not
yes.
coming over not coming over
That
Western
one's still-
Cemetery, right? If I have my way, right, the landing would always be between coming through French tongue in St.
Hassel,
Thomas
you're
and on
right.
St. Croix, right alongside Wappa, right?
Agreed.
Instead of coming over the island them and you know what I mean?
Agreed.
So these just the
Yeah.
little things, that I pay attention to.
Yes.
And we got that's part of selling what makes us so beautiful, right? The vistas and all that stuff, what have you. Now, when the governor was here, I was telling him, he was telling me about the dredging problem that we got in Christiansted, in Gallows Bay, and the costs and all that stuff, Army Corps engineers. So I told him, look, man, that container port that we got on here on the south central part of the island, we could do some development there. One of my listeners texted me and remind me that way back in the day, there was a plan to develop that. Right now, that's one of the most valuable ports in the territory, but that was for heavy industry and all that stuff. But you could still do things to be creative. How do we go about, 'cause right now the federal government acting like they don't want to spend no money on certain without.
I'm going to wait for you to say it. Let me hear.
No. I just want to make
You're gonna be politically correct.
Remember, no, PBS and NPR, they're under attack. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to spend money in certain jurisdictions and on things that they used to back in the day. All of a sudden, they want to get into being conservative because they got to pay for tax breaks, right? But the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Guam, Samoa, Saipan, our situations are unique.
Correct.
We require, an additional, review prior to investing. It just can't be investing for the sake of investing.
It's
It
not
has to
one
be,
size
It has to be
fits all,
tactical.
correct.
It has to be tactical.
Correct.
So-
I
so
do.
that's, so
do.
that's something that tourism understands and is incorporating in their decision making.
Well, I mean, absolutely. In everything we do, Neville, we are very strategic because we understand that as a territory of the United States of America, we have unique situations that we have to maneuver around. So when we consider even our marketing campaigns, we have embarked on the sports partnerships. We have deals with the Fenway Park.
Yeah.
On the Fenway Park,
The
that's
Jets, the
the
football,
the Jets,
football, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
We have Aliyah Boston,
Yeah.
who is our sports ambassador. So we understand, we know what we're good at. We are aware of the resources that we have that are assets, and we capitalize as best as we could in terms of strategically marketing and understanding within that marketing that we have some constraints. We have some good things though, as islands that are positioned within the Caribbean, that are American. We encourage, and we're encouraging the Americans to come see us because there's no passport required. There's U.S. currency.
Of course,
You
man.
know,
Those are the things that we need to be selling.
Those are the things that we need to, based on the fact that we have a great EDC beneficiary program, hotel tax incentives. So all those things we go out and we market and we share that. Despite some of the places that we see on fire, that we have some good incentives and programs here where we're encouraging economic development, hotel development, and an increase in our tourism product. Every time you look in your phone and you smile
No,
afterwards.
because I got the best audience. I got two phones.
Yes.
And former Senator Rocky Leibert on one phone, and former Senator Carol Buck on the next phone.
Love it.
Text me the same thing. They say, Neville, the goose used to fly from Saint Croix to Saint John. That was something that we used to do back in the day as well.
I didn't know.
That's
Rocky
why
would know that.
That's why I
didn't
asked you
know
how
that.
long you're there, because we had things
yes.
going on
Yes.
back in the day. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's smile to
Yes.
see both of them
Saying the
four
same
of us
thing.
senators. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's why I wake up early.
No,
in the
but
morning.
you know,
I'm not a morning person, so I look forward to this. You know what I'm saying? This is
Stimulates,
incentive. This
yes.
is incentive.
Yes,
It's inspirational.
yes,
You know what I'm
yes.
saying? So we go to. By the way, one of my listeners, Rufus Tombo, said he got a lot of inside information about this hotel that you're bragging about, this Hampton, right? And apparently, energy is a part of the deal as well. The way they construct it and their energy portfolio looks like WAPA ain't gonna be a killer for the hotel.
Well, you know, one of the things
That's good.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's
great.
good.
You're right.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I'm not going
Because we want to keep with it right.
but I just gonna say,
You know what I mean?
I'm not gonna put
Yeah,
everything
but-
on blast
yeah.
yet, because for the
Opening, right? The grand opening,
you know,
right?
that's gonna
Yeah.
be an important part of
but I
sharing.
like that, because we don't want them to have this grand opening and then
What-
5 months in, oh God, wapa killing we? You know what I mean? So,
Right.
So I like that. I
Right,
like that.
right. And that's something, when you have the opportunity to go and check it out, you'll see for yourself. I mean, the capacity that they have there, not even near it in terms of the usage where energy is concerned. But it's really impressive to see that we have a good brand.
This is private ownership, or this is
Private.
something joint with a public entity.
Private ownership with some, you know, they have received obviously some incentives.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For them to be able to, you know, get to this point where they're going to be turning keys. The entire month of August is going to be considered their community reinvestment give back, an opportunity for locals to come and stay at a.
You really excited about this?
I am
right
so
now,
excited. I'm so.
I go
I've been watching
see
this.
if I the hand movement
Yeah.
and all that thing that
I've been
one-
watching this project.
Yeah.
You know, watching this from infancy stages to now, to the point where we have you know, the unveiling that's coming up soon.
No, I can, you know, it's just me. Right? I could be wrong, right? But this is me, right? The flagship hotel in the Virgin Islands has always been Frenchman's Reef. I haven't been to the property since it.
Man, I got to take you on one of my tours.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How is it's a Western property now?
It's Westin, but still under the umbrella of
The
Marriott.
Marriott.
Bonvoy.
Marriott.
Correct,
Westin and Marriott.
correct.
So how is it?
Westin Frenchman's Reef.
Yeah, okay.
That's the name.
And it's pretty much the same like it was before.
It's Neville, you gotta go and check it out. It's absolutely beautiful. You know, Marriott, that particular property has been one of the properties where you get the absolute best views. The cruise ships, the whole promenade, the water.
That's our flagship hotel.
Correct.
All the hotel
Correct.
territory-wise. What it be? We got Westin and St. John.
Yeah,
right?
we got Ritz-Carlton and St.
Ritz-Carlton
Thomas
over on the
too.
eastern side, right?
Correct.
The one that always stood out, the one that had the ability, whatever, maybe because of location, the way it's constructed,
Capacity
all that
too.
stuff. Capacity.
Yeah.
Frenchman's Reef was always the one staple.
Correct,
right?
correct.
So,
We have persons that have honeymoon 27 years ago, and when they think of it, they come back just because it's one of those landmarks
yeah.
in St.
That's-
Thomas.
that's a good-
5-star,
good
the little autograph collection section, Bowie House, is another section. It used to be, I can't remember the
It had the
Morning Star. Morning Star.
down in the flat.
So it's
Yeah.
Bowie House now.
It's
but
Bowie
it's,
House?
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
beautiful property. And with the reopening of that since the hurricanes, a huge increase in keys, which has really helped us in terms of capacity.
Now, the Ritz, I don't know if you know this, but there was a time where the Ritz was actually owned by Mr. Marriott himself
Correct.
back in the day.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
How's the Ritz doing?
Ritz is doing good. The Ritz is, it's one
That's
of
upscale, right?
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. That is definitely 5-star
Yeah.
upscale. The brand
As a
itself
matter of fact, when the
speaks for
hurricane
itself.
hit, right, they had to take off the Ritz off of it.
Yes.
Because it didn't meet
Yes,
the
it didn't
criteria
make-
to
it
be
didn't- yeah.
upscale. So
It didn't meet the mark.
Until the reinvestment, you know?
Correct, correct.
I think I named Little St. George's or something.
I can't remember what they named it, but it did take off.
I am glad because it became affordable.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I'd stay out there. And,
Yes.
and oh, it is nice too, man. Look, that location for the Ritz Hotel is,
Absolutely beautiful.
you want to get lost
That
in the Virgin Islands.
you
The
do
Ritz.
get.
The Ritz. That's like
You
St.
get
John.
lost.
It's like an
Correct.
extension of St. John. You know what I'm saying?
Correct. Correct. Well,
so
it's
good.
close enough.
Yeah. What about
you know.
Wyndham and Sugar Bay and all that stuff?
That's one of them. They're doing work on that. We don't have an exact reopen or date that keys will be turned there, but I know it was acquired and they're actively doing work on at Sugar Bay.
Okay.
You know, so we don't have any information in terms of the flag or anything. But when we think of here, Buccaneer right here in Saint
Yeah,
Croix,
Buccaneer tough, man.
one of my favorite properties.
Buccaneer tough. Buccaneer, they got lasting power there that
Yes.
Buccaneer been through it all. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
yes,
Saint Croix
yes.
by the sea, before you were here, right, we got some condos over there now. That used to be one of the number one hotel. Saint Croix by the sea, the hotel aspect. You know, and then, but we went through a lot of things over the last 50 years.
Correct.
So it's like that. Hey, good to see you.
It's always good to
And,
see you,
and
Neville.
don't be
Thank
a stranger.
you. Thank
Good
you.
to see you, Miss Mary Edney. Good to see you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm looking forward to talking with you again.
Thank you. Thank you,
Okay?
Neville.
And
Have a great day.
Enjoy the tour of Saint Croix.
I-
And appreciate the flat drive.
The flat drive. I will appreciate
I
that.
like the tease the people ever say that was a flat over here.
But let me tell you, between the tours of St. Thomas and St. Thomas
Yeah.
and St. John,
Yeah.
the people that were being, the other persons who were on the tour, the meandering,
Yeah.
you know,
There's something, don't go nowhere. We got to do a station ID. We're going to do that and come back.
all
Have the
right,
conversation.
okay.
Yeah.
The views and opinions expressed on Analyze This are entirely those of the on-air participants and do not reflect those of the station's board, management, staff, or underwriters. The views and opinions expressed on Analyze This are entirely those of the on-air participants and do not reflect those of the station's board, management, staff, or underwriters.
And we're back here at Anlayze, wrapping up our conversation with Department of Tourism. Deputy Commissioner Rosie Farrington, you were going to say something about comparing St. Thomas, St. Croix, and St. John with the tours and all that stuff.
Yeah, definitely. The terrain tells the story. So we did St. John already, did St. Thomas. Definitely when it comes to the hills and the meandering as a whole experience, a vibe by itself. I look forward to doing St. Croix today, and enjoying what is less in terms of threatening for guests. when you're coming down,
Just flatter, man.
when you're coming down
The
Donkey Hill
topography
and
is what
St.
it
Thomas,
is. Yeah.
the topography, the topography is definitely what it is. But
Yeah.
as we wrap up, Neville, I just want to say I think it's important to let people know community tourism is really important as We traverse on the different islands and we experience what tourists experience in terms of the vibe of who our people are. You know, the service we receive, the joy that people illustrate just in their interactions with our guests. It just warms the heart, and it shows us that when we travel and we market and we do what we do to bring guests here, that they're in great hands, and people aren't just coming to just experience what they see on a postcard. They're coming to really experience the essence and the vibe of who we are as a people. And, you know, it's
one of the things I think we should ask the legislature to do is we have a local law that says access to the beach, to all the beaches.
Public
right?
access.
Public access, right? We need to do the same thing with all our sugar mill them and Saint Croix, right? And if we could get whatever agency, whether it be DPNR, sports park and recreation, something
to maintain
joint,
them.
to clean up
Yes.
everything around them,
Yes.
so that everybody could have access to them. Because some of them are there in the bush. If we could create roads and all that stuff together,
Correct.
people could use our sugar mill them as
And that's a
photo
vibe.
ops,
That's the
as
vibe and
photo
the
ops and all that
experience,
stuff. And they
yeah.
got a lot of them that exist that we don't know because they may be surrounded by bush.
Covered
right?
up,
Like a
correct.
Michael Tolan, one of my former colleagues, he knew of all of them, right? If we could do that, that could be part
I
of that
think that's a
cultural
great
attraction.
idea.
You check what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
things
that's a
like that, things like
fantastic
that we'd
idea.
appreciate.
Yeah.
I'll let you know we're going to do this again. This is what? This is the last part of July. Maybe sometime in September, October.
All right.
As we head into the heart of the peak season, which starts in November, right?
Perfect. So
Right,
we
November
ramp up and get ready.
November to Carnival, right?
Correct.
That's what it is, right?
Correct.
So looking forward to
Correct.
talking with you. Okay, thanks a lot. Good to
Thanks,
see you.
Neville. Good to see you.
All right.
All right. Thank
got
you.
it. Yeah. So that's Department of Tourism's Deputy Commissioner, Rosie Farrington, making a stop in to let us know where they at. And, you know, we got to sell the territory because that's we got that for sure. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, good with that. And I'm looking forward to that. One more thing. Remember I was speaking about our pilots. We're talking about the harbors. And like I said, I pull up this story. So tomorrow,